3, 2, 1, go!
Hey folks, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we are looking at Yakusoku no Neverland, or The Promised Neverland if you put it in the English translation. Yes folks, I am alive. We'll get that out of the way first and foremost. I am still alive. I'm still relevant, hopefully, to some of you. I know many of you probably not seen a review from me in about a month. That's why I'm amazed that my channel actually keeps growing. I'm past 2,000, like I think I'm 2,083 right now. I don't know how I didn't even get any subs at this point, but yeah, unfortunately, as you guys know, I had a lot of family issues that I dealt with about 2 months ago, and they're still ongoing. Currently, my dad is still in the hospital, so I'm still dealing with that. Obviously, work, I'm in the summer rush where I work. It is very, very busy. It is insanely busy. I deal with so much in a day that it is nuts. So the days I get off, I am basically dead to the world. I'd either try to go visit my dad at the hospital, or, I try to, do all the errands that I'm missing out during the week, or making phone calls I have to make, or do anything that I just can't do during my days off. Not even days off, excuse me, my work days. It's been nuts. So I want to tell you guys, though, that there is some normality coming back to my channel, hopefully. I will promise you this. I will not go at least every month without making at least one video. I know that it probably will not make my channel grow that much, because it'll only be like every month, but there will never be a month that you won't get a video at least from me, because I love you guys so much. I really adore still doing YouTube. It's just very hard for me to do. And by the way, if you are looking at my shirt, it's Deku. I got this from T Republic. I love this shirt so much. It's so comfortable. I just love the design of it. It's so badass. Kind of digressing though. Yeah, so I apologize, guys and girls. I am trying my best to do videos. I do have a few saved that I can probably upload possibly within the next couple months if things go kind of astray and I can't do reviews. I'm actually currently doing this review as of right today, so I'm just going to upload this as soon as it's done, but it's rough, it's rough, but I'm doing my best to do what I can. Anyways, today, like I said before, we're looking at Yakusoku no Neverland, or The Promised Neverland. I am a huge fan of the manga for this. Actually, if you guys go to Honey's Anime, which is, of course, as many of you know, my second job, I am doing current manga reviews for every chapter that comes out, so I am caught up to the manga. I will tell you there is a big change in directions from the manga to the anime in terms of where it is right now and where the anime was when it ended. I won't spoil that though. Don't worry, guys and girls. I will not spoil like what happens. I won't tell you like who survived, who dies, etc. I'm not doing that. I will talk about the anime. Obviously, I'll tell you some details about what I think about the anime in comparison to the manga, and what I just think about the anime in general. But I promise that I won't divulge too much, because I'll tell you right now, the manga has so much stuff happen that it's almost mind-blowing at one point, that you are just constantly getting new information given to you, like left and right, like constantly something new is happening. You'll have 1 minute where someone character's dealing with this, then another where they're doing this, and then it's almost like arc-based at this point, where there's huge arcs of things that are happening with the kids that are surviving and trying to fight, against the demons that they're finally going against. It's a really good shonen series. I'll tell you that right now. The manga is impressing me from the very beginning to where I'm at now in the series. It is so good. So if you really can't wait for the anime to come out, because there is a season 2, by the way, coming out for the anime. Don't worry for those that were panicking about it. If you haven't already seen, that's been announced a while ago, but there is a season 2 that is supposed to be coming out. There's even talk of a movie I think they're trying to do, but I'm not 100% sure about that yet. It might just be like a preview type thing. Anime Expo, I think, is going to be having more on that, so, that's where you get the true information on if the series is continuing and when it's going to continue and all that stuff. But anyways, Yakusoku no Neverland, or The Promised Neverland. Basically, the whole kind of concept of it is that you have a group of orphans. They're like, I think, 30 or something more orphans in this place called the Gracefield House. And the place on the outside looks beautiful. I mean, you have this giant, luscious forest, these giant grassy knolls that you can walk on. The kids are all different ages, between anywhere from, like, I think the youngest is like 4 years old, all the way up to like 12 years old. It seems like the perfect place for an orphan to kind of live their life until they are found by a family. The problem is that very quickly, this is not a spoiler, but it will kind of remove the tension about it. I have to tell you it nonetheless, because it is the main concept of Yakusoku no Neverland. If you look it up, you'll see that it's considered a horror for a reason. you very quickly realize that this house is not the nicest place in the world. There actually are bad things happening behind the scenes. When a child gets to a certain age, they are all of a sudden found by a family, it seems like, and they're let go. And, this is after all their training has been done, because they train mentally. They have to take tests constantly and go to, like, hard schooling when it comes to certain things. But they all, excel in terms of education and intelligence. At least most of them do. And once they get to a certain point, they're all of a sudden just shipped off to, like, what seems like a family. And you think, oh, they got adopted. That's great. They're not getting adopted. They are getting, as you find out pretty much by the second or third episode, they're getting sent to be eaten by demons, because little do they know that the outside world is not what they think it is. And I won't spoil anything beyond that, because the anime doesn't go very far into what the outside real world really looks like. They only give you, like, a kind of snippet of it. The manga does very quickly, after where the season 1 ends, goes into what the outside world is and why the system is in play, why these characters are growing up and then being forced to be fed to demons. Now, the story focuses primarily on 3 characters, Emma, Ray, and Norman. Emma, Ray, and Norman are probably the smartest and most agile and just the most clever of the orphans in Gracefield House. They are the ones that are truly just something special. But the problem is with that is that it makes them being the first ones aware of what's going on, the reality that they're facing. So they right away start trying to think of, how the hell do we escape from this kind of inevitable thing that's going to face us if we don't leave this place. And they start making escape plans, and the whole series kind of feels like an almost escape story of these kids trying to get out of this place. You find out that the mother of this place, the one that's watching them, is really working with the demons and is making these kids a certain way to be sold/fed to the demons. And you find out in the manga why they're being fed and why they're being sold and what all this going on with the human world and demon world, etc. You find all that in the manga. The anime kind of gives you little smaller hints here and there of what's going on, but they don't give you the full bigger picture. It leaves you on a very big cliffhanger, which is like, oh, what's going to happen next? And I won't go into that. I mean, the show does a great job of kind of keeping tension up. I will say I kind of understand why some people dislike The Promised Neverland or Yakusoku no Neverland. It's a very, very slow and meticulous series. It is something that does not ever go beat by beat by beat. It's something that really follows a set story in the beginning. It is meant to be almost in a way, besides the escape story, it is meant to be a very heavily narrated the kind of concept where you're focused on Emma, Ray, and Norman for the most of the story. I mean, you have these other children come up, you have like all these other kids that show their faces here and there. And the manga, some of them get to be a little bit bigger in terms of story. But the focus is on them trying to figure out a way of escaping. They really are trying to figure out, okay, let's set up how we can escape by this date. Let's figure out how we can train these kids so they can escape with us. Let us figure out what's going on behind the scenes. Why is it that we're being sold off? It's very meticulously done to kind of explain narrative. And it works in terms of being kind of creepy if you really think about it, but at the same time it can make it a little slow. And it's ironic when you have the opening song being so fire like that, which by the way it's one of the lyrics of the song, but the opening song alone, it makes you feel like this is gonna be a really intense show. Like you have the kids running at one point and it's just dealing with all this stuff, but the show is very slow paced. I will say the second season, if it follows the manga correctly, it's going to get a lot more action heavy, and then the third season, which I have to believe will be a third season of the series, will be more a horror base, because in the manga currently it's very, very horror, and it's done in a really nice way. It's so creepy. But what I love about the series though is that it blends all these different genres together so well in the first season alone that you don't ever feel like one particular genre stands out above the rest. Yes, it's got this shonen feel because you have kids growing up to be stronger despite what settings they're in, coming from a bad background per se to like now becoming stronger beings. You don't know where they came from originally, etc. But that's the shonen concept. Then you have the horror element being the fact that they're being eaten by demons if they get released to them, and then you have the, I want to say, action portion, which is them occasionally running and trying to hide and trying to protect themselves, etc. It does these genres very well, but I understand why people dislike it, because there are a lot of people who dislike The Promised Neverland. I've met a lot of them because I can't tell them to stick with the series until a halfway point, because I feel like that's almost insulting. Like, oh yeah, watch until episode 12 and then go read the manga, or wait until second season, it'll get better then. The first season is something you either love, hate, or maybe be in between with. I think you could fall within those three realms with this, because there are people that love it, hate it. There are people that just flat out hate it. There are people who love it. It's really like one of those shows that it's good. It does things very well. And if you love it, you'll love it. You'll think, oh my God, Cloverworks, aka, A1 Pictures, kind of like subsidiary company, did a fantastic job with animating the series. I mean, the manga is great, but the anime looks so, like, spectacular at times. They do these really good scenes, these close-ups that are really creepy of certain characters. They put this emphasis on characters' faces, which the manga does very well too, but it makes it where it's like more impactful. You're like, oh, this guy gets so super close to your face, and you see like the way their face goes from being nice to contorted and twisted, because that's really their inner self, their kind of hidden agendas, that they're not really that nice of a person. They're dark. There's a darkness within them. So it does a great job of conveying that. The animation is spectacular. The voice acting in terms of the Japanese dub, because I didn't actually hear if there's English dub or not, is really well done. I really love the characters. I love how they're portrayed. I think that these kids all sound like kids. Even though I'm pretty sure some of them probably are adults, they sound like kids. And I think that's a really good point, because this is the kind of point that these are not grown-ups trying to fight against demons. These are kids. They're 13-year-old kids, 12-year-olds. They're some teenagers, some are legit children that have to figure out a means of escaping and surviving what is inevitably a fate worse than death, because they are going to be eaten by something they don't know what it looks like. And that's kind of terrifying if you really think about it. And that's what I think works with Yakuza no Neverland, is that it has this kind of creepiness factor. It's always in the back burner. Even if you really don't dwell on it, it's always there. You think, okay, so yeah, they're trying to escape, and yes, they're focusing 4 episodes on them trying to escape and plotting out exactly how they escape. But what's secretly creepy about it is that if they fail, they're going to be sold off to be eaten, and they won't even realize it, because they'll either be probably knocked out, or they'll be so scared that they probably die from fright alone. There's a kind of like terror to that. That's why I think the horror genre works pretty well in the first season, even though it's not the main element. It works pretty good. Yakusoku no Neverland is a series that I really recommend trying for at least 5 episodes, 6 episodes. I think by then you'll know if you really like the series. I know it's a 12 episode run, so you're going to be like, that's half the series I have to watch. And most people will be like, I don't want to watch more than 3 episodes. If you watch 3 episodes, yeah, you'll get the initial thing of what's going to do. But I feel like that's also not going to help you really say if you want to stick with it, because the first 3 episodes do a really great job of making you stay with it. If you're one of those people that believes in the 3 episode rule, you'll stay with it probably after the 3rd episode, definitely, because it's just going to set that up really well. But then the rest of the series could happen, and you'll be like, this is kind of slow, or this is not really what I feel like I want to watch, or maybe you'll be like, oh, this is amazing. If you go into one of those genres, that'll be what breaks you with the show. That's why I say, like, 5 episodes in, you'll really know if you want to stick with the show, or even 6 episodes, you'll really know if you want to stick with it. Because right now it's at chapter 171, I believe, or 170. Let me see. Actually, I'll tell you guys right now, because I have the review up. 137, excuse me. It's 137. I said 170. 137 is out currently. And, that's a pretty significant read. I mean, some of the more newer chapters are only like 10 pages long. I mean, there's a few that are only like 7. But the thing is that still, for some people, they don't want to catch up to that. That takes a while, depending on your time. Some people can do that, a quick beat. I mean, I won't lie. For review purposes, I caught up with Yakuza no Neverland in about 3 or 4 days, because I was originally signed to do the reviews for it, and I had never read it before. And so what I did was, even though I know that the anime follows it very closely, because I've heard many people talk about the anime and manga differences, I went back and had to still read from the beginning to where it was. And I had read Yakuza no Neverland before, a little bit of it, but I never read it from, I think, beyond the first shock value point. I knew about the story, like everyone was talking about it, and I remember I talked to a lot of people saying, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen, because I had a lot of it spoiled for me, because I'm part of communities that love to talk and spoil shit left and right. So unfortunately, a lot of times with like scare factors, I don't really get scared with a lot of series if they have creepiness to them, because I know what's going to happen, especially if it's a manga based series that goes into an anime. But I still went into it, and I still loved it, and I still really enjoyed it, and I caught up with it with gusto, because it was just that good. And the recent chapters have been so epic. I mean, like, holy shit, stuff's happening, and it's so creepy, so horrific, and at the same time you see this bigger picture playing out. And I feel like the series might end soon, and I feel like it should be ending soon, because it's getting to this point where I don't want them to keep going and pushing it beyond the point that it needs to. It's like, it's one of those series that you feel like maybe by 200 or 250, that's it. It should be wrapped up. It should be completely done. But, sometimes Shonen Jump will run a series into the ground, and then unfortunately, people will say stuff. But anyways, though, aside from all of that, Yakusoku no Neverland is a good show. I really enjoy it. I really highly advise checking it out. If you don't like the anime, which I know some people might not, go read the manga. I should say the manga is spectacular. It is something you will stick with, most guaranteed. Like I think that it's one of those shows that I actually feel like the manga right now is stronger. But we'll see. By the second season of the anime might push ahead because of how they do things. If they do things correctly and they show things the way it should be conveyed, the anime is going to push past the manga incredibly. It's going to just be like, oh shit, this is getting real, because it really does get like spectacular in terms of the manga. But if the anime doesn't convey it as well, it might be where the manga is stronger than the anime. This might be one of those few times I tell you go read the manga over watch the anime. But that being said, if I had to rate Yakusoku no Neverland between A through F, I'm going to give it a solid B+. I want to give it an A-, but I also understand that, like I said before, I know a lot of people feel on the fence about it, and I understand their grievances towards it. I understand why they dislike it and why they don't really particularly love it. So I kind of fall into that thing where I'm like, I want to give it a good score, but I don't want to be too biased on my own thing, because I love the manga so much, and I love how the first season went about. I don't want to go and be like, okay, this show's perfect, because I know what's going to inevitably be. I have to base off the fact that there's only 12 episodes so far. Season 2 kind of confirmed, but at the same time, not 100% confirmed yet. Like, it's not one of those things like they even shown anything yet. And I know people will say, oh, well, they said it already that they're going to do it. Until I see a trailer for Season 2, or see, like, a really long trailer for it, I'm like, it could happen. We've had shows in the past, I don't think people remember this, but in the past, at least, and maybe it doesn't happen as much nowadays, but in the past, it's happened a lot. Shows have been confirmed for Season 2, or Season Part 2, and they even talk about, like, oh, we're going to show it, here's a trailer of it, blah, blah. That doesn't happen. High School of the Damned, High School of the Dead, excuse me, I still remember having one of the worst ending scenes ever in anime to show a continuation for a second season. Because as many of you guys know, High School of the Dead, the guy the person who created it, died. And, well, I forget if it was a female or male. I always forget that, unfortunately. But the person who created it died, so the mangaka basically got to the second part, and then just that was it for them. Which sucked, because it was such a great series. But the anime ended on this thing where it's like, oh, we'll see you again, Season 2, and it was hinted that there would be a Season 2. I mean, they even had the OVA, which is going to be basically the start to the second season, because that's how it was going to do. Nope, we never got a second season, so that's why I'm always in my back part of my mind, even though we're now in the age where that doesn't happen as often, because it's like people would get really riled up and pissed off. I still always have that in the back part of my mind, that until I see 100% proof of something, I don't believe in, at least in the anime community. But anyways, what did you guys think about Yakusoku no Neverland? I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Again, guys and girls, I thank you for your patience with me. I know reviews have not been going out as much as they used to. I used to do reviews almost like 2 to 3 times a week. There was time I was lowering it to like once a week. And then as of recent, it's just been like once a month. And I'm sorry for that, guys. It's just, I'm tired. As many of you guys know, I don't sleep very much. And I'm used to not sleeping. It's something that even now, with all the stuff that's happened to me, all the crazy shit that's happened to me, I still don't sleep a lot. I still get like 3 to 4 hours of sleep a day, it seems like. But what sucks about it is that it's still wearing on me. It's all the drama and all the stuff that I'm dealing with. It's a lot. It really is. And, add that to work, add that to not one job, but 2 jobs technically, because I do have 2 jobs. Add that to that, dealing with, my father being in the hospital, which, he's getting better, by the way, in case I didn't say that already. He even expected a release date finally, but he's been there for 2.5 months now. It's been rough. It's been rough for me and my family. My family's been dealing with it. My father alone, he's dealing with some of the hardest. He's the one going through this himself. And, I'm the onlooker as a son, trying to, help him as much as I can. Really can't do very much. I can only visit him, bring him food when he needs food or stuff like that. And it's tough. It really is. It's tough for your psyche, your mentality, because I also work in a very stressful environment too, that it can all kind of just like add up to you and build upon you and just constantly build into this ball where it's just a lot. It really is. And it's not like I'm going like a pity party, because there's plenty of people I know that have been in worse situations than I have, that have had to deal with this too. But it's tough. It really is. And, I'm always grateful. And I think my kind of giveaway message for this, especially because Father's Day is coming up and I'm not going to be able to make a video on Father's Day, is, especially with anyone, any father of yours that you really idolize or you really love truly. Make sure to give them big hugs, big kisses. Tell them, you know, how much you are grateful for what they've done. You know, if your mother has been that father figure, same thing applies, you know, because I know some people that have never had fathers, that their mothers have been both the mom and dad, and, you know, they always celebrate both Father's Day and Mother's Day with them. And I think that's kind of cool, because that's what you have to do sometimes in that case. But, you know, regardless, make sure you never take for granted your health. Never take for granted the time that you have with the parent. You know, it can be taken with you like that. I almost witnessed it in my situation. I thought this was the end. You know, I really thought it was bad. And I didn't convey that in my first couple messages, but it was bad. You know, it was like, how much longer could have things been if I would have showed up a little later, or if I would have been, you never know, you know, like that one day, I still remember, not to get off too off topic, and you guys, if you're done with the video, by the way, I completely understand, but not to get too off topic, but, you know, I remember that I came home, and the prior to that, excuse me, they asked me to work overtime where I worked. And part of me was almost like, you know, maybe I'll take it because today was a really easy day. But then I'm like, no, you know, I know Dad's this way at home, and I don't want to really leave him too long by himself. So I was like, nah, you know, I don't want to work overtime today. Usually I don't take overtime anyways because I have 2 jobs, so it's like pointless to take overtime. But part of me wanted to. And then you almost think, what if I would have? How bad that would have been. That would have been horrible. But, you know, it's just shows to show you that stuff like that could happen, and you don't realize it. It's just unpredictable. So, you know, really don't take anything for granted. And again, I am sorry, guys. You know, I know many of you do watch my videos, and I kind of wish I've come back a little bit. I've gotten a few DMs from people going, you know, hey, are you gonna do any more reviews, or is your channel dead? And I don't want to say my channel's dead, because it's a channel that I don't think is ever going to die out. Even if I don't do videos for a while, I'll always have a few of you loyal people, and that's why I never believe, oh, channel's dead. Channel's dead only when, like, no one will watch your video, or if you don't ever have any videos on it whatsoever. That's when I feel like a channel's dead. But, you know, it's not going to be obviously as big as it used to be. You know, there was a time where I was growing steadily and getting a lot of viewers. And I remember there was times I was hitting like 2K, 3K views a video, sometimes even more, 10K. And I really enjoyed those days. Those days are probably over, unfortunately. But, you know what? Even if I only get 100 views, I've always talked about in the past, I don't care about that. I care about just being there with you guys, giving you guys reviews occasionally, and hopefully you guys enjoy my content and the way I do reviews. Anyways, guys and girls, if you have any more recommendations for things I should be watching or reviewing, let me know in the comments below, because I am trying to catch up with a few shows. The Roro I'm almost caught up with. I will have a review of that maybe probably when it finishes, hopefully, or maybe a few weeks after it finishes. Shield Hero will be definitely reviewed by the time it finishes, within that time frame, because I'm actually reading that for work also, or not reading, actually watching it for work. So I'm not doing reviews for per se, but I'm doing a whole different thing with it. So if you ever see me retweet hot moments from Honey's Anime, which, by the way, I'm not trying to, no sponsor, but I'm trying to tell you, go follow Honey's Anime on Twitter. If you ever see me do a hot moment retweet, it's because I did a review for that, which are just like small bite-sized reviews of an episode, kind of talking about what was the best moments of the episode, or talking about the episode in general. So definitely go check those out. Those are really cool. It's not just one editor, it's actually multiple writers and editors doing those things, which is really cool. But anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Until I pass crossing in the next review. Have a great one, everyone. God bless you all. Bye-bye.